do, especially like this point in the year. I've done small groups all year, so my kids know what I expect from them when they're in their classes. One of the things I did is I took my mock data and I looked at what genre, I mean it's reading, so it's genres, but like you could do that in history with like which units you need to do. I looked at what they needed the most work on, and with my kids they needed the most work on poetry. So I created stations with all the different genres that they needed to review. There were 2 genres that weren't seen on the mock star, but I knew they needed to review them, so I made them a station. But the biggest thing I did was that I made myself a station. So with poetry being the big kicker that they needed, I made it so when they came to me, they were seeing me. They were sitting down, but the other kids were all at different stations. And exactly what I did is on here, on this thing. So it says, my data showed they needed a large focus on poetry. Me becoming a station really helped them. Like there are some kids, poetry is just shoo over their heads. They can't understand it. So there are strategies that we've learned, but I wanted to introduce them to maybe 1 or 2 more strategies that I thought would really benefit them. So while I'm the station, I made it so that there were some things they had to do with me, but there were also some independent time. So I was able to get up and moving around to go to every station and check on them. This really helps them, and they're so used to me being at a small group that there's not really behavior issues because it's later in the school year. I probably wouldn't do this at the beginning of the year because they don't know exactly how to act. And maybe some of them don't know how to act now. And so you set up your groups with that in mind. So like this point in the year, I made it so that I had some higher kids with some lower kids. And when I went around, I'm telling them like, hey, you used a really good strategy on your mock star. Maybe you can show them what that strategy was, because we review our mock too. So they're able to see what they did well and what they didn't do well. And the other thing I used was Goformative. Has anyone used that before? No? So Goformative is super easy. I was able to upload some documents. If you're a reading teacher, this is nice. You can type in the questions and they're able to like go into the document and label where the question is at. And at the end of each station, they had to do a Goformative quiz. So I was able to see if they got anything out of their station or if they still needed help on it. And then like 2 days before the actual star, I went back to the Goformative and saw what I still needed to teach them. So I was getting extra data through our stations. So I used the mock data and then Goformative for some more data before we got to the actual test. So, and you'll get this document. She's gonna email it out.
Yes, I'm gonna send a copy of everything electronically to you that each presenter is sharing with us this morning.
And for each station, I did different things. Like we did a vocabulary sort. We did what's it called? A scavenger hunt with nonfiction. So there's lots of things like, and you'll see it all on here. It's hard to. This will help you. Okay. That's basically it. So. Thank you.